At last. Blimey. Thought it would never end. Right. Struth, short a hold of the people, am I?
We have reached capacity. Engage the brakes.
You're already paused. What are you making? Brass.
Cover
Probably
your
need you.
ears.
Spectacles. Bit of a luxury good. And over here is this one. Which is
Everything's rather fragile.
the jewelers. And you are bicycles. Right, they're all kind of luxury goods that we can pretty much ignore for now. For now. I can probably upgrade these people. I tell you, 5,000 investors. Strike a lot, Grandad.
Production has stopped.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised production has stopped. But that doesn't matter because that's just about parts and bits and pieces, which will come in. I haven't done anything with that. I've got filament factories over here, working fine. I have, what is this? The light bulb factory, which is slow, but it's working fine. I have all of the other bits and pieces I need to keep it going. Right, 5,000 investors. Crikey O'Reilly, Captain. Yeah, I mean, look at the money I'm raking in. 70,000 a tick. Yeah, I had to do a lot, and a lot of that was essentially to do with broken trade routes. The war with Beryl severed and fractured so many trade routes that it took ages to go back through. So, coffee, for example, was a continual and perpetual pain in my backside, as was sewing machines for quite some time until I figured out the problem with sewing machines was wood, not iron. There I was thinking I needed more and more iron, and actually you need wood for sewing machines, and I didn't have enough wood. And coffee, man, let me show you how much coffee we are getting in for Wosde. Let's just have a look at Wosde here. Actually, let's just have a look at coffee. Never mind woes. We'll just look at it for the good. Woes 2 units coming in, so that's 100. And woes 3 units coming in, that's 150. And another unit coming in from Foxgill. So yeah, I mean that's an awful lot of coffee for those investors, which is crazy, man, just crazy. So yeah, anyway, we got to 5,000. It was a heck of a slog, but it's underway. And it will eventually sort itself out, and those goods will eventually make their way through. I'm producing them. I'm just not producing them as fast as that construction would like to keep it running. But anyway, there you go. That's what Woz looks like these days. Awfully busy. Lots of investors, very well developed, and a few things going on. And somehow most of these people seem to be happy, which is a minor miracle. I don't know how I've managed to do it, to be perfectly honest. Korozova, nothing doing. Same old, same old. It's managing to keep up with the supply of furs. I am slightly shocked to say. I mean, we're at 179 and I'm supplying as much furs as I need to keep everybody in fur coats. So that's fine. I mean, there's a lot here, but that's fine. She's working fine. Sancerre is working pretty good as well. It's supplying a few people with a few things, thankfully. So it's acting as a good supply chain, and it's ticking along fine and not causing any major dramas. What's wrong over here with you guys?
We lack the
requisite
material.
right, okay, but I think you're reasonably happy with bread. Yeah, reasonably happy. I was shipping flour out at one stage, so they're probably just catching up because I was nicking all their flour. I think they're importing it as well. Denbury, honestly, I put it on hold because so much going on at Woes. There's very little I can do with Denbury other than just kind of keep it moving while I try to sort out the issues with Woes. Honest Town. This was another one I got from Beryl. So she's now down to 3 islands, and we'll have a look at that in a minute. I haven't again done anything with it because there's not. I mean, it's got resources, but they're gonna be a pain to get to. They really are. I have to do things like build new harbors and what is it really? Coal and iron? Copper. Coal. Where's the iron? It's like way up here. Oh, so it's a nightmare to get to. I'm just not interested in dealing with Honest Town right now. Railhampton. I've been promoting some people in Railhampton. I have given them power now, and we've got some power going on. We've got an oil harbor here, and I'm bringing oil in from the New World to supply them. And they are
We'll
obviously
notify you when
miss
we're unhappy.
missing clothing right now. I've been waiting on this hospital to glass windows for a while. Seems to be taking forever for some strange reason best known to itself. But yes, so I've expanded Railhampton out, and I've installed the possibility of another power plant over here. Yeah, it's a pretty big place. It would work really well if I could get everything up and running and promoted if Wosde wasn't bothering me so much, to be honest. Castlehaven was one of the ones that I got from Beryl. I just extended it out here so I could pick up an iron mine. I needed some iron, so I just put in a few people and chugged out an iron mine there so I could pick iron and start looking at developing that. I think it's doing quite well. It's not quite full yet. I was waiting for it to be completely full before I set up a trade route for it, because it's not working particularly fast. Urchin Bay, more or less the same
What
over
part
here.
of
I needed
town,
iron. Oh, he's not even connected to a warehouse. Can I put you a warehouse over here? Thank you. Yeah, so iron there so that I can fill that up so that I can get more iron from this guy. I think that's limestone and coal. No, more limestone. That's the coal. So that's Urchin Bay. And that's it, back to Wosde again. And this guy, like I said, is stacking up the goods. As you can see, the filaments are racking up, and the Cathawack Whack and all the rest of the stuff is racking up, and that's all good. Before we move on to the new world, let's have a look at the island shares. So I bought this one, Honest Town. It cost me a bunch of money, and there's King Crafty and there's Cashaway. Now, the thing is, 4.2 million to get Cashaway from Beryl. King Crafty, 5.6. If we have a look at Goontown, 15.6 million. So I keep squeezing her out by buying her shares, so I'm getting all of her share income, which is fine. But I mean, I don't know if I get like, I don't know, 5.5 million, I'll buy it for sure. I will, but getting to 5.5 million, although at the speed I'm going, that's not so far away. So I could be at that by the time I'm finished talking to you. In terms of diplomacy side of things, she's obviously still at war. She keeps throwing in peace agreements every now and again, and then goes straight back to war again. But you can see here that I mean, again, her economy must be rock solid, man. Rock solid. How's she doing it? She has no connections to the New World islands of her own, so she's buying everything in from Princess Ching because maybe Willie, maybe. But let's have a look. Can she buy it with Willie? Um, no, she's at war with everybody except Princess Ching. So she's getting everything from Princess Ching. And how on earth is her economy so solid? Still at 52, and I'm at 53, and I own so many more islands than her. Although militarily speaking, I've well surpassed her. So I'm definitely militarily I'm the strongest person here. And economically, I am now the strongest person here. So I'm definitely in the lead, and I've managed to crush Beryl, ha 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 ha, in opposition onto the new world. Well, honestly, Viejo Garino, I haven't really done anything with. Well, that may be not true. I tweaked a few things. There were a few things needed tweaking with some of the islands. I had to add in a few things up here at the top. As you remember, there was some space up at the top, so I had to tweak a few things. You know, the intent is to keep these people as happy as possible, and I could probably go back and continue with a bit more tweaking, actually, by the looks of things. So they still need tweaked. Waves Hope was one of the ones that I got from Beryl. I mean, I started developing it because I had the intention of getting up here to the oil, and I still do. I need to get some goods imported to be able to do that. Steel and I believe glass windows and concrete, so that I would have to be able to build an oil field and start producing oil here or producing an oil field here. That kind of thing.
We like to think independently.
Foxgill. Now this is one I had to spend a bit of time with, and I had to do this because I had to get more things for Wosde. I had to get, well, I started getting pearls for the investors, but it's not a need, it's a want. And I just wanted to see how it works. Now, here's the thing about pearls. You can't find it here. So if I come and look here, it's not here. And I was looking for it here going, why can't I find pearls? I don't know what the story is at all. I can't find pearls. It's not over here. It's not anywhere.
On the bright side,
So it turns, yeah,
just
take the money and go away. It turns out you need to go to buildings by type using triangle. And when you go to buildings by type and you go along here at the bottom, you find yourself at harbor. And it's here under harbor. And it's only here. Most of the rest of all of these things appear elsewhere on the wheel. They're different chains. I suppose this one doesn't. Let's have a look. Does it? Yeah, it still does. It's over there. So I have no idea why pearls doesn't appear on this wheel at all. But it doesn't. So if you're looking for it, that's where it is. Because I was looking for it a while ago, and I know for an absolute fact that Beryl had them, and I've done a ton of them. And I'm like, where the heck are they? It took me a while to find them, but I found them. So yeah, I had to develop Foxgill. I couldn't make this one fit. I can't believe how close it is, but I fit it as many as I could of these, but I couldn't make these two fit. There's room over here for another two, but I don't know about Foxgill. It's I need to go over here really to get the most, and it's quite a distance. So yeah, there you go. I did have to develop this a lot, predominantly for coffee. I really wanted coffee. Oh, and this is tobacco, for cigars, because I needed cigars and coffee, but predominantly coffee. That was definitely the big issue. Tango de la Haya, the same. A few corrections here and there, up and down, nothing major, bits and pieces, little bits. I've started kind of developing it out this way, but then again, I just got soaked up with balancing woes to try and make woes work. Cruiser beta, nothing doing. Occasionally had a few things to adjust, but otherwise, nothing doing. Skiing is another one. Oh, I finally got the stuff that I needed, that I am developing because I want to develop this into oil, and I might have enough to be able to. How many can I squeak in here? Ooh. Why won't it let me go there? Construction area blocked by what? A small chicken? What is? Oh, is that my best bet? That's 4. What about that one? 1, 2, 3. That's also 4. What is that? I think that's 5. That one's right on the edge. That's 4. But I can't. What about that? Does that look better? There's one on the edge there. I don't know. It's either that way or that way. I don't think. Is that a bit of road? Is that what that is? What is that doing there? It's like, what is that thing? Where was I? Right, I'm trying to get all 5 of these in. Is that it? Do you think that's it? I think that's it. There we go. How about that? 1, 2, 3, 4, Beautiful, Bernard. Right, what I need to do is pray that I can get, and I've got enough iron to get a train track up here. There it is. If only you could, help me here. Yeah, if only you could help me here. What am I missing something? Here we are. Where is it? Oh yeah, looks like we've got enough. Enough. I'm only going to be one train line, so it isn't going to be a bother. Yes, there we go. Making oil at Skeen. So I can wait for that to develop a little bit, and then I'll bring some oil from Skeen out as well, because it would probably be a good idea to do that. And if I need to, I can get more tobacco and more catawak and more chocolate from here. I'm not surprised that's gonna happen. Is that it? Yeah, that's everybody. So, yeah, that's the new world. Shares wise, well, I mean, Willie's still here, and I kind of tolerate him. I mean, I could take him probably. What's Silence shares worth? 52,000.
Maybe you can help me charm the other shareholders.
Maybe. Right. Anyway, let's get back to the old world and get back to Wosde. So there you go, and there we are, and they're already running short of
algorithm.
coffee again. I can't believe it. I just can't believe how much coffee. I mean, don't get me. I like coffee. Do not get me wrong. I am a coffee drinker, and I do like coffee. And these things are we're still working on getting these things together. But oh my days, they go through a lot of coffee. Right, what's happening here?
Is incomplete.
I need to get some things sorted. The filament factories, there's crazy demand everywhere. We're running out of coal. We're we're running out of filaments. We're running out of everything. So I'm gonna have to go and balance some of these things up so we can start actually making goods for all of that. And I've got places with spare coal and everything else, and I've got a spare cargo boat, at least one of them. And I'll put another one on order for cargo, and another one on order for that. That seems to have created havoc. I don't think it matters now if I downgrade any of these, because it was a requirement that I have 5,000 to start. I don't believe it's a requirement that I need 5,000 to continue. So there we go. Not a problem? Not a problem. Didn't think so. It was an island unlock condition. Right, so let me carry on and do that, and I'll get back to you. See you soon.
Done.
Done. Like a dog's dinner.
Your city has grown more beautiful.
Well, there you go. The World Fair. The World Fair Monument.
I had a job unpicking old rope once.
Very nice, I guess. Very nice. So I guess the idea is that this hosts exhibitions that reward unique items. However, on balance, I think I'm going to call it a day there with Sandbox1. Boo. Yes, I'm sorry. But I really do have to consider that the amount of time it took me to get here. 57 hours and 10 minutes. So you have seen the episodes that you have seen, and a lot of that is condensed, because a lot of it is quite repetitive, and I have a score of 34,180, and I have absolutely no idea if that's good, bad, or indifferent. I could not tell you. I have nothing to go by. Um, I would sort of imagine it's not exactly super. Um, I didn't really do an awful lot of things that were very efficient, and as you
Pull
can
up your
see
braces
from
and
the
thrust into
way that the way that the city was originally laid out was I didn't get it. Later on, I got it, you know, and I did this whole grid thing, and yeah. Final thoughts. Um, yeah. Look, there's lots of the grid thing bothers me. You can't do a curve. I can't do a curved road anywhere. It's just square maps, and there's no room for moving things around. That for me was a bit simplistic, and it's unfortunately, as the game has progressed, it has become painfully obvious that the most efficient way to do it
We don't have to
is
deal on
these
paper.
little grids, right?
Now that is
And that's what you do. You have to have crossroads running between the two because you have access from certain things, probably more so things like the fire station. You know, so you don't want them to have to go all the way down. So you don't want to make your grids too big. So unfortunately, because that's the mechanic of the game, that's the way you play the game to beat the game. You know, and I can't say that I like that mechanic at all, which is a bit disappointing. I am used to playing City Skylines and things, which has a bit more flexibility, but there you go. So I'm not super happy about the grid stuff at all. The
the people
the wheel
celebrate
thing.
your leadership.
Oh man, I mean, can I tell you how many times that this was annoying?
A remarkably effective
Um,
cure.
Especially I'd have to say more so using the L2 wheel and trying to use these things like the move tools or the demolish tool. But even just trying to put down cornfields or potato fields or things like that. Pardon me. That is all really rather clunky. So the actual interface of designing is clunky. You know, and I did have a little tinker early on, and you will have seen that we have these ornaments and things that you can put in, but you're never finished. So, I mean, even at this level, this isn't finished because it's such a mess. I could go back and spend my time rejiggering this around and trying to do things with it. The other thing is you could have one little tree hidden down here that you completely forgot about, and you're trying to build a road or place some buildings, and they won't fit, and you're like, what the heck is going on? And it's because there's one little tree there, you know, and that's fine unless it's hidden in the shade. Hidden in the shade like this, you can't see it. I have no idea what's going on. So, yeah. The ornaments sadly lacking because I feel like I feel like you don't get the opportunity to design your city. I feel like there are limitations placed on you because of the structure of the way the game is put together. You're back to the grids, grid, and I feel like you're just going to end up with grid cities, and you're going to end up having this grid does this, and then that grid does
The
this,
people
and this grid
celebrate
does
your
that,
leadership.
and so on and so forth. Um,
Your city
and
has
I
grown
and
more
I
beautiful.
find that a little bit disappointing, really, to be honest. Other than that, I mean, in terms of map and things and interactions, yeah. I mean, I guess there's not. It's definitely economic. It's definitely based on economic. The ship thing and having trade ships and having escort ships, it's not a naval battle game. The military ships actually are either there to escort your ships or because you want to disrupt someone else's trade route. you're not going up against, you're not making, naval battles and going up against each other with naval battles. It's all economic, and you can see from here that I did end up purchasing cash away at 4 million and something. So I've managed to squeeze Beryl out down to now she's only got 2 islands, and I have no idea how she's surviving, but she's surviving. So fair play to her. Um, so it's definitely an economic might game. I mean, let's have a look. Where is she? Um, this one, if I
The
was to
people
purchase it,
celebrate
is
your
still
leadership.
5.8 million, and I think this one is still 15.4 million. So there you go. So that's that. So yeah, so the diplomacy side of things didn't really it didn't really play out. And it didn't really play out because the trade rights don't they don't function. They didn't function very well for me, as far as I could see. The issue is you get the opportunity to trade with somebody, which is fine. You then go to the map and you then have a look at what they offer, and you say, well, okay, let's have a look at the trade thing so we can see exactly what she offers. So we go to create route, we create a trade route, and we go and have a look at this and say, what does she offer? And she offers a whole bunch of stuff until she doesn't. And I get that, but the problem is then it runs out, or then she decides that she's not going to be able to fulfill that trade anymore, and you then got to manage that trade route, and there's no simple way to make it a one-off trade as far as I can see. You can't, unless you manually send the ship there, and then you don't know when it's got there. So then you need to wait. You need to go and find it. You need to say, right, you're there now. Here's what I want you to get, and then you want to send it back again. It's all very manual. Um, there's no way to say, I want you to go there and get that and come back just once, and I don't want to make it a permanent trade. I just want you to do it just the once. So it all gets a little bit clunky. So I never really found the trade between players helpful, which then means that not trade, sorry, the diplomacy side of thing becomes kind of unhelpful. It's like it's added on, yeah, I get it, but it doesn't. How is it helping? What's it doing for me, knowing that I've got military of 299 and economy of 53 and barrels? I mean, it's something to compare myself against, but it doesn't. It hasn't come in particularly useful for me. So I didn't find that particularly super. What else is up here? There's a whole load of bits and pieces. Expeditions. I didn't even get into them. The newspaper stuff. Okay, fine. Quest book and so again, quests. They're so time consuming for so little money, especially at the later stages of the game. I have 5 million in cash, and someone wants me to do an escort quest for 15,000. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my time. There's no scaling of quests. If a quest was like $1 million reward, I'd go, yeah, all right, that might be worth doing, but it isn't. So I don't, because why would I? Blimey. This thing, statistics. Look at this wheel. I told you the wheel drives me crazy. Again, there's lots of
You can do
fascinating
it. Work your
information
way up
in
from
here.
right off the end.
That I hardly ever used for my purposes. Um, this, by far and away, production turned out to be the most important thing that I found late in the game. If I'd known this earlier on in the game, I probably could have saved myself an awful lot of time and effort, but I didn't. But eventually, when I found it, I realized just how valuable this particular screen is when it comes to setting up your towns and cities, because you can turn on exactly what you need and exactly what you don't need. Um, but then you can obviously turn on and say, well, hang on a minute. What I want to do is I want to, make this an island that pumps out only furs, for example, which is what I did with Koritsova.
Take
down
it.
here.
I'll still be there in
So,
one way or t'other.
so you know, that's handy. The rest of it, yeah, look, I mean, we probably made our way through a lot of this stuff. I never really found an awful lot of value in things like the trade union. The police came into play once during a riot. The rest of it is mere production side of things. Nothing on the farmer's side. Artisans, again, museum, but I didn't use it because I didn't go on expeditions. Same with the zoo, didn't use it, didn't go on expeditions. Wasn't something I bothered with. Engineers, yeah, okay, fine. There's all this stuff and things to make and all the rest of it. It's just more things to make. Really. And up here as well, we got into champagne, cigars, we got the members club, we got chocolate, we got into jewelry, didn't get into gramophones, and I didn't get into steam carriages. But really, frankly, um, it's just more supply chain logistics, and this one, I've got all those things. I could probably do that. It just means more supply chain, and I've got all that stuff, so it's not a drama either. Um, and we did that. We did the World Fair, and I think that's it. And that's sort of where it's at. New World, I suppose. Heading to the New World. Um, yeah. Look, I feel like it's very underutilized. It's just like a tack on, really. You have to go here to get things, and that's it. And there was not. I didn't really, it was just more stuff to do. It wasn't. These guys don't. You've only got two levels of people. There's nothing goes above a Brera. So you've just got Jornalero and a Brera. Um, and that's it. And then the rest of it is like this. You just turn these islands over into production farms and just say, well, I'm producing this and I'm producing that. And you chuck in little grids and things, and that's the way you go. Um, a bit challenging working around some of these island shapes and various other bits and pieces and doing that. But that's predominantly it. These are some of the ones that I got from Beryl. I liked this one. I liked it with the river. A shame that the river is really rather dirty. I mean, it's a filthy brown. I'm not I'm not sure why it would be that color of brown, and it's not discharging any of that sediment into the sea. So, and look, it's crystal clear over here. So I don't know exactly what's going on with this river. It couldn't just be river colored. It had to look like a cup of coffee. I just don't get it. Anyway, yeah, there you go. So I just feel like it just very, very under realized in terms of, um, yeah, you've got these extra caoutchouc stuff, and you've got plantains, and you've got um, cotton, and you've got rum, um, and you've got tortillas, but there's no benefit in moving most of this stuff back to the New World. Coffee, blimey, it seems like you just can't give them enough coffee. I don't know what to do with that. And you got bombins, which is really it's quite fun, but it's a mild and moderate interest at best. I think probably my key thing is time. It is incredibly time consuming, and I think that comes across in this here. 57 and a half hours um to just scale the tree, and I didn't really spend an awful lot of time prettifying anything or pursuing anything or doing expeditions or doing all of that kind of stuff. It was simply a case of saying 57 and a half hours is how long it took to get to arguably the end point. There's nothing else from here. One more production chain or two, wait until I can buy Beryl out, muck around with my islands really is where I get to. Um, which is fine. It doesn't have to be a, you win, you lose kind of a situation. But 57 hours seems like a lot for what's in the game. And I mean that because the issue is a lot of it is just time and repetition. Time taken, like I said to you before, when I was in the situation when I was in war with Beryl, she started taking out my trade ships until I figured out what was happening to my trade ships and why my trade ships kept getting killed, other than the fact that I didn't have escorts. And, the issue with that was that um, I then had to spend an awful lot of time going back and fixing those trade routes. And it takes so long for those trade routes to be realized that you don't actually know if they're up and running. And it probably took 4, 5, 6 hours to correct those trade routes. And that's another thing with some of this stuff as well with these ships. You have ships on trade routes and they may be in places, but trying to make it simple to find that ship and then find an idle ship and try and get that idle ship, like the flamethrower monitor, to find this ship to escort it. A little bit clunky, and a little bit time consuming to kind of work through all of that. And again, the simple amount of trade routes that you have to manage at any given time. How many is that? How many is that? That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot. That's what was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 24. There's 36. So that's just, I'm not even trying. So you've got to manage 30 odd individual trade routes, and each of those trade routes can have issues. And again, I'm probably not doing it in the most efficient way, but as I pointed out to you, as you go up through, you don't get access to all the things. So you start out with smaller ships until you get bigger ships, and slower ships until you get faster ships, and so on and so forth. So it's continual readjustment and going back and readjustment and going back and readjustment and so on and so forth. Keeping track of these people, going back and readjustment. Why are things going up? Why are things going down? So anyway, there you go. I do think, like I said,
The
I
people
love
celebrate your leadership.
I love the visuals. I love the fact that look at that. There's no real. There's a bit of LOD stuff, but not a lot. And it got all these little agents wandering around, these little characters that are doing their own things. It got. I don't know what the story is with the boxing, but okay, there's the boxing going on. Um, when you go out, like I said, and you go look in the trees and you go look in the fields, and there's people in the fields working, and down here you'll find, pretty things, and you go out to some of the islands where there's a bit more wild space, and you'll find animals wandering around, and parakeets flying about. And what's this over here? Is it a tiger? A tiger and some donkeys, possibly. So I like it. I think it looks really nice. It's a very beautiful looking thing. It's incredibly complex, not very complicated, but very complex. And the way the interactions play off against each other can then make it be very complicated. Maybe there's a way to streamline it and make it a little bit more efficient as you work through it a few times. I don't know how it changes as you scale up in terms of difficulty, and that would be the next thing to try, would be obviously be the next difficulty level up and see what that is like. Um, but yeah, I guess that's sort of my final thoughts. And my final thought for this is I want to take a break from it. I really feel like it's soaked up so much of my time. And I just have to get on to other things. I'm also conscious, like I said, that City Skylines 2 is coming out, which is a city builder that I have followed for a very, very long time. But look, I'm glad I got it, and I'm glad I tried it, and it's interesting, and I think it's one of those things that if you're I don't think you can pick it up and put it down. I think it's one of those things you have to know that you're devoting your time to it. and be able to devote your time to it and say, oh, I'm going to spend the next month playing Anno 1800. Because, if you're, a part-time human like me and you have other humans who rely on you to do things, then you might be doing, an hour or two a night, in between your normal routines of all kinds of things being together. Well, an hour or two a night, and probably not every night. So that's 60 nights. So that's a couple of months. So, it's definitely going to be an investment in your time. But the reason I say that it's definitely not a pick up and put down is because there's so much complexities in things like this that if you can't remember what's going on, you're like, wait a minute, what's happening? And you're sort of, trying to figure out what's happening with this and what's happening with that, and is there crossovers and things. Um, so yeah, so that's it. Anno 1800 on console, everyone. Um, it's been good. It's been interesting. It's definitely been a journey, and there was definitely a lot to learn. I really do feel like the campaign, the playthrough campaign, doesn't set you up in any way, shape, or form with dealing with the main game, which is, a complaint that I made initially, and I still stand by it. I feel like if you're doing a game like this, the campaign should be more like a tutorial, not just a story. And what we got was a very nice story that was partly tutorial-esque, but in no way covered the whole of it. Um, so there you go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been enjoyable and sometimes frustrating, and sometimes it has felt a little bit like a chore. And at some point I've just sat here watching it do its thing for quite some time while I've basically done other things, um, because that's the nature of the game in a way. You just have to wait for things to happen, for 20, 35 minutes, and then after 35 minutes you need to see if things have balanced out or if they haven't balanced out or if something funky is going on. Please, please, please drop me a like. Please subscribe. Stay tuned for all of my other adventures that are happening with my other games. The Long Dark, Wintermute, for example. DayZ, of course, which I'm now on season 3 in Livonia, trying to decide what to do. Of course, as my teaser trailers have come up, and you will see another one coming out very, very soon. City Skylines 2 is literally 1 month away, and I am prepping to get ready for that. I'm so very, very excited. That will certainly be something I spend a little bit of time on. I can guarantee it.
Your city has
And,
grown more beautiful.
stay tuned for everything else that I do. And if you have any questions or comments, or you want to raise anything, or you think there's a game that you think that I should give it a try, I do my first look, first hour series where I jump in and try a game for an hour and give my thoughts on it, and let you see what it looks like. That's always welcome. And yeah, I'll see you all again soon. Ta-ta for now.
PlayStation